Welcome to the Thursday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that we didn't have music. Jeez, how rude of me. How's it going, Astro? I didn't even realize the music wasn't playing through. It was in my headphones, but not outputting. Wow. Folks, we definitely have quite the couple of headlines to go through. Let me just get myself settled here. Election day. It's election day in the UK? I didn't know that. Woke up to a cool, refreshing morning. But we expect that it's going to get a little bit hot later today. Folks, we definitely have some interesting articles to go through. So I think we should probably get started on some of those articles. All right. Okay, I think we're good. KTS Shine, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Yes, we elect half of our local authority every 4 years, interleaved on a 2-year voting cycle. Oh, so like here, right? What we would consider midterms, I guess? Right? It's kind of like I can't believe I wasn't here for Star Wars Day. Oh man, out of all the times, KTS Shine, honestly, that's also my fault, as there was some, other pressing issues. Unfortunately overshadowing. I completely forgot May the 4th. Today's May 5th, right? Yes. I completely... Oh, it is Cinco de Mayo, though. It is Cinco de Mayo. Do you work for Sam Cedar now? Yes. I'll just throw that story out there. Sure. Half of the council is up for election. Yeah, okay, yeah. So it is kind of like, I guess, what you would consider the equivalent of our midterms. Kind of. First of all, happy Cinco de Mayo, I guess, now that I am remembering. Unfortunately, like I said, KTS Shine, we've had a bombshell of a week, that's for sure. Well, the background screams majority report. Yes, because it's the same panels that both Pac-Man and Sam Cedar have. It's the exact same ones from IKEA. I just added my shade of blue instead of the dark, kind of more standard blue that Pac-Man has. I accidentally stumbled upon this light gray blue, um, and I ended up liking it. The way it happened was by pure accident, because my scheme is mostly like black and white. The panels behind it, I actually painted black. Right, those gray blue kind of um, color that you see. If you look on the other side of the panel, it's actually black. Um, but I noticed when I looked on the other side that it gave it a nice blue. So I figured, I'll keep it this way. Yeah, it's IKEA. They went. That's known lore. Known lore. Cinco de Mayo doesn't have a Jedi Council though. True. True. Yeah, it is 100% IKEA. That's how I found out, because that's how they they mentioned it, and then I got it. David IKEA Pac-Man. Yeah, they're both. What Sam Cedar has are two of these panels, and he has the not they're like special paper that you put um on like lighting. It's supposed to be used for lighting, but what they did was they cut it out, the multicolored paper that's supposed to be used on lighting, and just filled up the squares, which is how they got that kind of multicolor purple, pink, blue. I think they also have background, um, and just kind of like had put a good lighting on it, and that's what that is. IKEA backgrounds are the backbone of the left. True. In the UK, we have 10% inflation on key items. I mean, like, inflation has been, since not only the pandemic supply chain problems, but now the conflict in Ukraine has been not good. Not good. The Bank of England have raised the bank rate to 1% today, which is a 13-year high. Wow. But what's the inflation on IKEA backgrounds? No clue, because I bought this a while ago, a long time ago. So I don't have that answer, unfortunately, K Sizzle. I don't even know if they sell this still. They have like I think I tried to look for it because I wanted another one to have another set kind of built. But I don't think I found. I think I found like a different variant now. Evan Yeager TV. What's up? Hope life is good. Thank you. Greetings from Kazakhstan. Howdy. Inflation really hurts small businesses, which is sad. True. That's yeah. I mean, inflation basically puts a squeeze, certainly on the working class, small businesses, and all that. Yes. But to actually seriously answer your question, K Sizzle, I do not work for Sam Cedar, but little asterisk on it. I do moderate for the Majority Report Twitch channel, and I'm also a moderator in the Majority Report Discord. So yes. As you can probably tell, I'm kind of a fan. Just a tiny bit. Just a bit. The latest UK economic assessment is for a 1.5% depression in 2023, and we are in a recession. Yikes. Houses in New Zealand have gone up 20% in 2 years. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a separate problem in and of itself, right? That's a whole other separate problem. There was a specific video that I wanted to go over. I can't find
This video.
it. Ah. Mayhem Hippie, howdy howdy. Housing prices have skyrocketed here in the UK, but I think that's a function across the board, isn't it? I mean, like I'm seeing houses skyrocket here too. It depends on the area, I suppose, but where I used to live, it's unaffordable. I actually cannot afford a house where I used to live. Like, I physically cannot afford one. And by me, I mean 2 working adults working full time, both of us. Yeah, that's not right. And you need a 20% deposit. What young person has 20K? That depends on the price, I guess, right? What person has 200K? Nobody. No, none of us do. We have to get we have to hope that we qualify for like special programs that would allow us to put less down. Average house is 1 million in New Zealand? Like $1 million, or I would have to check that, but geez, if that's true, that's yikes. That's omega yikes. Not good. When recession starts, the money runs to assets that will not lose value. Right, like property. Huh. That's not good. Surfer McGritty, howdy howdy. Oh, 1 million in New Zealand dollars. So glad we bought one we did. Man. I wish I had the capabilities of buying earlier. Because, man, it ain't easy. Unless you move into the country, but then there's no jobs out there. Sheesh. Thanks for the shout out. Taking a bit of a break from streaming, but appreciate it nonetheless. Oh, no problem. I could definitely understand that. Krayleo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Where in the US are you? In, not Florida. And somewhere in the East Coast at the base of mountains. Yeah, I'll say that. somewhere that doesn't cost a lot of some uh somewhere that doesn't somewhere that I can actually afford. Mayhem Hippie coming in hot with 400 biddies. Thank you so much. Is it true milk has doubled in price? I don't know about doubled, but I mean, I think it has increased for sure. South Carolina, close-ish. A US is 1.5 New Zealand dollar. Gotcha. Not here, but I live in the heart of the Dairyland. No. That now we're getting too north. Let's say now we're going too far north. There we go. There we go. The answers are pouring in. So my point was, where was I? Yes. I haven't seen like a super increase in price from what I understand, but it definitely has gotten more expensive. On the plus side, my vanilla soy milk has not really gone up that much in price. It has been very consistent. So I'm chilling on that one. If you want the best addition to your coffee, or chocolate cereal, or any cereal, the brand Silk vanilla soy milk is the best for coffee. No doubt about it. Hands down. I've tried different brands of soy milk. I've tried oat milk. None comes even close. None comes even close. You are feather bedded in the large USA economy? Not so much. Not so much. We're not impervious. Yes, we're not impervious to inflation. It's all over the place. It's just that some areas are hit harder than others, and some stuff is hit more than others, right? So it's all good. Almond is yuck. I actually tried almond milk once, and not a fan. Not a fan at all. Not a fan of vanilla almond milk. Besides, like, the way it's made, it's also not good. But it doesn't even go good with coffee or anything, like cereal or anything like that I use my soy milk for. None of it like goes good with almond milk. It's just like not nah. Your fuel prices are way below us in the UK. Well, yeah, our fuel prices are definitely on the lower end in comparison to some areas. I don't hate it, but it's not really my jam. I get you. Food in the USA is cheap to a European observer. Yeah, but also like how does that translate? Because like obviously what was I gonna say? Your currencies also, your currency, wages, and cost of living are different too. Yeah, our fuel prices are on the lower end, that's for sure. Like they're, from what I understand, uh, fuel prices are palpably lower here, from what I understand. Diesel is up to diesel rose $1.30. Diesel is up to $6.10 a gallon here. Jeez, I have not seen that yet. It's gonna get worse for everybody in a Western country. What? What does that mean? Yeah, if you kind of like look at fuel prices around the world, the US is definitely on the lower end, Surfer McGritty. For sure. Like the price wise, yeah. I want a hybrid or electric car. Yeah, I support that decision. I would say though, I think the best sustainable option, ironically enough, is to make sure that you don't buy another car until you need it. Definitely get a hybrid or electric if you can. My gas is half the price of others right now. Sheesh. I mean, if you can. Betty is officially 21 years young. A Nissan Altima. Nice. Yeah. I pay about 35 right now to fill up, sometimes 40. Sheesh. Electric would be great, but they're a steep buy-in. Yeah, I mean, they're a bit, depending, they're a bit on the pricier side, which they should be subsidized instead of the fossil fuels. All the electric manufacturing should have all the subsidies instead of the fossil fuel industry. The average salary in the UK for men and women combined was about 29,000, 35 US dollars. Huh. So it's about the same? Is it not? Average, not rent, salary in the US. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, it depends on what you ask. It depends on how you ask it, because if you ask, what is the average annual wage in 2019? Okay. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the national average salary in 2020 was 56,000. The wages above the average could be seen as a good salary. There are no hard and fast rules regarding how to determine a good salary, since there's many external factors involved. But if you ask what is the median annual salary, it's 34,248 with 45 cents. So I guess it just depends on what you're asking. 2019 would be a bad year to look, though, with many people not working due to COVID. So the USA earns more and pays less? No. Well, 2020, it was about national average salary in 2020 was 56,000. We also have to take into consideration like the ceiling, like for very, very wealthy folks also has a high influence on that, wouldn't it? I'm just assuming. But we also have to pay for healthcare. We also have to pay for college. There's no reprieve on that one. Found out today Elon Musk has more money than everyone in Zealand. Elon Musk has more money than a lot of people combined. Like, it's just unsustainable. We pay 9K for university in the what? In the UK, like full total or like per semester? Because like 9K sounds like what? One semester? One semester, I think, or like half. I forget the prices. It's been a while, okay? $9K a year? My kid's high school tuition is 20K per semester. Yeah, imagine like 9K a year. What? Jeez. I wish that was the case. And there's not public high schools here? What? That's wild. The 9K does not include accommodation? Yeah, but like 9K a year, Astro, is like it's barely like a semester. Here, it's incredibly expensive. 9K a year would be a dream. And I mean, if you want to add a little bit more on top for accommodations like housing or not housing, residency, is that what it's called? I don't know. Whatever. Um, you can add a couple more grand and it would be significantly cheaper still. 9K a year versus 20K a semester, and also does not include housing and food plans. Right, like that's just wild. Even let's bump it up to 12K a year, including housing. What? A year. That's unheard of here. That is unheard of. All right, folks. We gotta get some of these articles going. $12K would be about right for shared accommodation students. I mean, sheesh. Again, a year, that's a good price. That's unheard of here. That is unheard of. All right, folks, let's get started with this one. Nope. Here's an interesting story. Oath Keepers leader Stuart Rhodes tried to contact Trump during the January 6th insurrection. Interesting. Interesting. A member of the far right Oath Keepers group pleaded guilty on Wednesday to the high level charges of seditious conspiracy and obstructing Congress's certification of the Electoral College votes on January 6th of 2021. So he pleaded guilty. William Todd Wilson of North Carolina admitted to joining other Oath Keepers, including leader Stuart Rhodes, in planning to use force to halt the peaceful transfer of power from then President Trump to President Joe Biden. Wilson is now the third member of the militia group to admit to seditious conspiracy, the most severe charge so far brought against the alleged members of the January 6 mob, but he is the first to reveal that Rhodes attempted to contact Trump on the evening of the riot. Yeah, this is a good meme, folks. As part of Wednesday's plea agreement, Wilson admitted under oath to a statement of offense, which is used in criminal proceedings to stipulate the facts of the case that a defendant acknowledges. At approximately 5 p.m., Wilson, Rhodes, and others left the Capitol grounds and walked together to the Phoenix Hotel. Rhodes then called an individual over the speakerphone. Wilson heard Rhodes repeatedly implore the individual to tell President Trump to call upon groups like the Oath Keepers to forcibly oppose the transfer of power. This dynamic is it just keeps getting worse and worse, folks. This individual denied Rhodes' request to speak directly with President Trump, which, good. Jonas, how's it going? America is effed up. I mean, yeah. Yeah. The allegation is the first time a member of the Oath Keepers charged with the most serious crime surrounding the January 6th insurrection is accused of attempting to contact Trump on January 6th. Wilson's plea agreement stated that he agreed to join Rhodes and other co-defendants in stopping the peaceful transition of power. In one leadership group messaging chat, Rhodes allegedly implored the group, quote, "We aren't getting through this without a civil war. Too late for that. Prepare your mind, body, and spirit." Yeah. Yeah. But remember, folks, these were just grandmas protesting. I'm hanging in there. I should have said what's happening in America. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's messed up. I agree with you. I wonder where he got the notion of this thought process. I remember a certain now ex-president with an orange tint, continuously using the words "fight like hell," "save America," "be wild." The election is rigged and there's no other recourse. I remember a certain person with an orange tinge continuously repeat this on social media over and over and over again, even before the election was had. I really want to go to a protest over the weekend. It's the only thing I feel we can do, especially as a birthing person. That or get my tubes tied, but I don't think that can be reversed unless I'm wrong. I think that there is a procedure in terms of getting your tubes tied that can be reversed. I could be wrong. Tube ligation can be done at any time, including after childbirth or in combination with another abdominal surgery. It's like, depending, most tubal ligation procedures cannot be reversed. If reversal is attempted, it requires major surgery and is always not effective. It can sometimes be reversed. Um, a doctor may suggest operation called tubal ligation reversal. A surgeon will reopen, untie, and reconnect. Okay, I mean, it's possible. Zenshine9, how's it going? It's possible, but not guaranteed. It can be done, but it's difficult. Yep. I'm having issues with my keyboard. I should have read before pressing enter. Here's what I was trying to say. Previous message. I shouldn't have said that America's messed up. I should have said that what is happening right now is... Yes, I agree with you. Although I also agree with the fact that America is messed up. Yes, I agree with that. This is quite the choice here. Howdy. You know, both things can be true. So yeah, Surfer McGritty. I keep wanting to keep wanting to call you Surfer Girl. Um, Surfer McGritty. It is possible. It's just a matter of like, it's not guaranteed. As a foreigner myself, I didn't intend to say things. I didn't intend to say things. Say this. Things aren't. Things ain't great here in the old continent either. Yeah, I mean. I think God already did that. He gave us the Republican Party. Oh God, I have to laugh because if not. Doing well. Hope everyone else too. You know, conservatives would have to hear Trump say, "Now I'm conspiring to create a coup in America for them to think he's actually guilty of it." What? Really? You really think that he said it himself, Zen Shen 9, that he could literally shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and they would still vote for him. He knows exactly that that's the case. He could literally admit it on air, completely open, be brazen about it, say that, yeah, you know what, I actually did try. You know what, I actually did know what I was doing when I was making all those posts since November. And I thought I was doing it in the service to save our country and blah, blah, blah. And they'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. They'll eat it up. No critical evaluation of that whatsoever. That's usually what happens when you're in a cult. All right. We aren't getting through this without a civil war. Too late for that. Prepare your mind, body, and spirit. This is why, like, I hate this civil war rhetoric. Wilson admitted to bringing an AR-15 style rifle, a 9mm pistol, approximately 200 rounds of ammunition, body armor, a camouflage combat uniform in the city, pepper spray, yes, nice, a large walking stick intended to use as a weapon, and a pocket knife to Washington, D.C. area ahead of the attack. Okay, so yeah, like there's definitely planning here. Like the idea that these folks just had a spontaneous, what is it? Spark of the moment. It is just nonsense. These folks absolutely knew what they were doing. I'm a surfer McGrady after this country right now. We need education reform among many other things. Oh yeah, 100%. He would say, and he would say, since I killed a man, I know better how to prevent it. Right, 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 and have be more smarter for it. And people and his uh, uh supporters would clap around, clap around along to it. According to the statements of offense, Wilson heard Rhodes discuss the potential need for Rhodes and co-conspirators to engage in force up to and including lethal violence in order to stop the transfer of power, a call to arms that Wilson admitted to answering at the time. On the afternoon of January 6th, Wilson, Rhodes, and others allegedly bypassed barricades and Capitol police officers and unlawfully entered the restricted grounds of the Capitol, the court documents revealed. And later that day, Wilson admitted he entered the Capitol building with his pocket knife and 14 other members of the Oathkeeper organization. He said he did. He said did not. What? He said he did not bring his cache of weapons to the Capitol, but left them at his hotel in case they were needed. So he had them close enough so that, in his mind, when things pop off, they would have more or less relative access to weapons, which is the point. And I don't understand. There was a conservative narrative going around saying that there was no weapons. There was no weapons in this insurrection. Really? Then what is that? The same thing goes for other caches that were stashed around in nearby hotels. Prosecutors said that in a series of messages, including one on the morning of January 6, members of the group talked about preparations of a QRF, a so-called quick reaction force staging arms and other supplies outside DC's city limits. Right, that's what I'm talking about. Including in one message, including in the court filings, Rhodes allegedly wrote, "We have several well-equipped QRFs outside DC, and there are many others from other groups who will be watching and waiting on the outside in case of worst-case scenarios." Yeah, all this was planned and heavily coordinated. So I'm sorry, but these are sworn statements from a dude who pled guilty to sedition. In the weeks following the attack, Wilson said he tossed his cell phone into the Atlantic Ocean to hinder any investigation into his actions. Good meme. He now faces 20 years in prison on each of the 2 counts to which he pleaded guilty, but will likely spend far less time incarcerated. Right, because, he probably worked out a deal, because the other choice is to go to trial and most likely be found guilty and given a harsher sentence. Others, including Rhodes, have entered not guilty pleas and are set to stand trial later this year. So there you have it, folks. Another update on that. We will continue to cover any updates that happen on this investigation because I think it's important. I think it's important, and it's also to kind of keep a check on the nonsense narratives that get spun around this insurrection. The wild and crazy MAGA and Trump, true. All right, folks, let's switch gears for a second. Starbucks says employees getting new benefits, but not at stores that are unionizing. Why do I feel like that should be illegal? And also, because of the threat of unionization, it turns out they actually could this entire time give employees benefits. It turns out this entire time, magically, out of pure magic, they are suddenly able to give benefits. Look at that, folks. It is a miracle. Jesus, Jonas, this is the link to the article. Wait, what? They're offering prizes for stores not supporting unions? Yeah, they're deploying new benefits for stores that are not unionized, which is unbelievable to me. It's just like an admission, right? Like, so you're telling me that this whole time you just didn't because you're greedy fucks, and now that you're getting threatened by unionization, all of a sudden, look at that, out of thin air, we have benefits manifesting themselves. By pure magic. A month after his return to Starbucks as interim CEO, Howard Schultz has announced new benefits, including expanded training. Okay. Improved sick leave and credit card tipping for some 240,000 Starbucks employees at more than 8,800 stores across the country, but not for those that are unionizing. So I think that maybe they should let this go and then unionize, you know? We do not have the same freedom to make these improvements at locations that have a union or where union organizing is underway. Oh, you're right. They don't have the same freedom to basically exploit at stores that are beginning to unionize, because you best believe that a union contract has more leverage for sure than having the unilateral decision of the CEO by the grace of the corporate gods bequeath upon you more benefits. A union allows you to negotiate that on paper. So, no. Starbucks said all employees, including those at stores that are unionizing, would receive the wage hikes that were first announced last October. On August 1, employees will get either a 3% raise or $15 an hour, whichever is higher, and tenured hourly employees will get even bigger raises. The announcement comes as more than 230 Starbucks stores have filed for petitions for union elections, and about 50 have voted to join the National Union Workers United since December, making it one of the most significant union drives in America. Nice. Keep it going. Keep it going. Schultz hinted that Starbucks might move to exclude unionized stores from new benefits in comments to store managers over a video call in mid-April. At the time, he said he had just learned that Starbucks is not permitted by law to offer new benefits to a store that voted for a union while they are still in the collective bargaining process. Workers United called Schultz's assertion dead wrong and filed an unfair labor practice with the NLRB. Good. So it is illegal. Under Section 8 of the Fair Labor Standards Act, employers simply cannot implement new benefits during contract negotiations unilaterally, wrote Gabe Frumkin, counsel for the Workers United. Instead, they must bargain with the union if they wish to implement new benefits programs. In the filing, Frumkin charges that Schultz misrepresented the law by giving the misimpression that Starbucks could not even offer such benefits to workers or their union representatives. Schultz's comments made an immediate and profound chilling effect on organizing campaigns nationwide. Schultz say no union contract measures up to what Starbucks already offers. No. Wrong. The union drive at Starbucks has been remarkable not only because of the stunning speed at which it has spread, but also because food and drink establishments are among the least unionized in this country, with just over 1% of the sector unionized in 2021. Wow, that is, yikes. That is super, super low. That's depressingly low. But unlike many other food and beverage chains, Starbucks has long prided itself on being a standout employer, offering health care. Oh yeah, stand up employer offering the basic of basic healthcare, retirement, stock options, and free college tuition to full time and part time employees referred to as partners at Starbucks. Indeed, the generous benefits and socially progressive culture are a big part of what has drawn many workers to Starbucks, which has some 9,000 stores nationwide. Compare any union contract in our sector to the constant expanding list of wages and benefits we have provided our people for decades, and the union contract will not even come close to what Starbucks offers. Press X to doubt on that one. Upon his return to the company, Schultz acknowledged that Starbucks had to transform. Over the past month, he's traveled to different regions to attend what he calls co-creation sessions with store employees, referred to as partners at Starbucks, hearing them out on problems they encounter on the job as well as scheduling and pay issues. It was difficult and emotional at times to hear the challenges and the issues that partners are facing. So fix it. But in the shareholder call on Tuesday, Schultz made it clear that he thinks that the source of workers' grievances may have less to do with Starbucks and more to do with events that shaped workers' lives from the Great Recession to global pandemic. Wait, what? Really? Okay. Nathan Dara, how's it going? Why do they keep calling these giant companies progressive? I don't know. They gave a little qualifier socially progressive, right? Guess. These young people have completely valid concerns given today's uncertainty and economic instability. Yeah. And how do you think we got there, Mr. CEO of one of a large chain? Explain to me, please. And how do you think we got to these crossroads? Is it perhaps maybe because of greedy fucks like you? Maybe. They look around and they see the burgeoning labor movement as a possible remedy to what they're feeling. I mean, yeah, yeah. It was a toned down version of the comments he made last month when he spoke of companies throughout the country being assaulted in many ways by the threat of unionization and referred to Starbucks Union Drive as a new outside force trying to desperately disrupt our company. Yeah, okay. That characterization has riled Starbucks workers who say they are the ones leading the union efforts at their stores, not some quote outside force. Of course, people don't want to work shit jobs for shit wages. Cost of living is not keeping up with wages. So, yeah, at some point, uh, enough is enough. In pushing the outside force narrative, Schultz could be referring to one particular worker in Buffalo where the Starbucks union campaign got its start. Before landing a barista job with Starbucks in 2020, Jazz Brisak, a Rhodes Scholar from the University of Mississippi, had worked as an organizer in the UAW in Mississippi and with Workers United in Buffalo, where she led an effort to organize baristas at a local coffee chain. Nice. But workers at Starbucks across the country describe being inspired by the baristas in Buffalo, not directed by them. While Workers United lawyers are helping store workers file petitions for union elections and unfair labor practice charges, the workers say they're the ones reaching out to coworkers across shifts and deciding what they want as a store. Nice. But all but a handful of more than a 50 all but a handful of the more than 50 Starbucks stores that have held union elections to date have voted to unionize. An election in Springfield, Virginia in April ended in a 10-8 loss, a result that Workers United is challenging. Galen Berg, a shift supervisor who led the union campaign at their store, believes Starbucks' union busting activities in fact change votes, pointing specifically to managers' warnings about what could happen if the store voted to unionize. We aren't going to be able to get raises in the next coming months. We're not going to be able to work at other stores. Definitely our partners believe that. Yeah, they can't do that. Berg says those warnings were delivered through mandatory sessions between managers and employees known as captive audience meetings, although Starbucks denies that these meetings were mandatory. Yeah, okay. The NLRB has moved to ban captive audience meetings as unfair labor practice. Agreed. Starbucks denies engaging in illegal anti-union activities, including at other stores where worker organizers have been fired. Starbucks says that the workers in question were fired for, quote, violating company policy. That's usually the BS excuse, right? The NLRB has issued formal complaints against Starbucks in a couple of cases, calling the actions were retaliatory. In Arizona, the NLRB has sued Starbucks to have 3 workers reinstated. Yeah, so basically what the strategy is you see that a certain worker is, trying to organize, and then you pay attention with a microscope of precision to see if they violate any, quote, company policy, such as maybe taking a minute more on your break, or maybe you came in late twice. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get clapped. You get fired on the spot for violating company policy. That's usually how it goes. So nonetheless, this guy can get effed. Don't care. They should all be unionized, and as many more stores, the more Starbucks coffee shops that are unionized, the better. All right, we gotta talk about this. A core of the conservative intelligentsia, conservative movement, and a very influential figure. It's my booster day. Hey, Kevin. Howdy. Charlie Kirk. Quote, while the court is at it, they should overturn the 6-year-old ruling in Engel versus Vitali and return school prayer back to states and parents. Newsflash. This is not a theocracy. Get effed. And also, school prayer, which religion exactly do you want? Is it okay for all religions? So we have like an hour at the beginning of each school day to make sure that all religions have school prayer at the beginning, right? I'm sure that's what he means. You want to express school prayer, but not CRT and trans ideology. Express all ideas. Yeah, but that's the thing. Double Hugh, Texas. When they talk about freedom of speech and all that other stuff and liberty and all that, they're not actually meaning that. What they mean is that they want explicitly their ideas to be the only thing, right? That's what they want. No ideas, just math all day. True. Only math allowed, okay? We can only speak in math, speak in numbers. Hey, Abond, how's it going? It's about MAGA and the GOP wants, not the USA as a whole. Yeah, yeah, and this is the usual about 30% minority, somewhere between 25 to 35%. The majority of people don't want this. Engel versus Vitali was a landmark United States Supreme Court case in which the court ruled that it is unconstitutional for state officials to compose an official school prayer and encourage its recitation in public schools due to the violation of the First Amendment. So, the First Amendment is the Free Speech Amendment, which again, I've demonstrated numerous times over and over and over again. These folks don't care about free speech. They never did. They don't care about freedom of expression, freedom of religion. Miss Nixa, if we can't have CRT, then they shouldn't be allowed to see you at the poll rallies all day prayer around the flagpole. Howdy, howdy. Oh, yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't want any of that crap, any of that indoctrination in the classrooms. Yeah, they can, yeah, voluntarily. Voluntarily, you can do what you want in your time, in your space, and your home. Nobody should interrupt that. That's you. Hey, listen, if you want to spend 5 hours in your home praying to whatever it is that you believe in, listen, Godspeed, okay? Go for it. But you cannot tell and you cannot impose this, indoctrinate in classrooms. You cannot put this anywhere near government. There's a strict, supposedly, separation of church and state for a reason. So that people like Charlie Kirk don't have the unilateral authority to basically mandate stuff. You best believe that if somebody like Charlie Kirk was ever at the helm, that's what they would do immediately. It would be a authoritarian theocratic state. That's what they want. Not my words. That's what he's telling us. Don't really have to don't really have to stretch. I don't really have to concoct any narrative out of this. It's right here. This is a real tweet. No, no. Call it what it is, Zenshine. It is Christian, nationalist, fundamentalist, authoritarians. Call it what it is. Good morning, Maple Leaf Dragon. The separation of church and state was meant to protect the church from being corrupted by politics. That's interesting. I always kind of thought of it the other way around, but that's just me. Because I'm not too keen on, you know, organized religions taking over politics. I always thought it was meant to be the other way around. Anyways, I thought this was a good thing to kind of bring up to the surface, because it really does illustrate what these folks would do what they want to do should they ever get their hands on on all the levers of power. This is what they would implement, right? They should overturn the 60-year-old ruling, Engel versus Vitali, and return school prayer back to states and parents. What better way to combat the sinister presence of trans ideology and CRT in the classrooms? Organize, seize the momentum, take more ground. Folks, if you thought that this was going to stop at Roe v. Wade, it won't. Now that they've been emboldened and they see that there's a favorable Supreme Court on their corner that is not unbiased, that is heavily skewed in their favor, do you really think that this is going to stop at Roe v. Wade? No. Nope. Authoritarians don't have boundaries and limits. It's coming for everything. Yep. Most people do, but the result was a backlash of people confusing religious faith and political reality. Huh. The more you know. Thank you for that, Maple Leaf Dragon. Brooklyn Rob, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Howdy, howdy. Yeah, so if you thought that this was going to stop at Roe v. Wade, no. I believe, in my opinion, that you would be sadly mistaken. That if and you think as soon as they find out that this is the way, this is the game plan. They've got a Supreme Court that is heavily skewed in their favor. They're not going to stop at that. They're going to try and keep taking more ground. I mean, like I said, it's not an extrapolation. It's not a stretch. It's not a narrative that I'm building. It's right here. It's not that easy to just tell people things, what they need to understand. To be honest. Wait, I'm not now I'm not understanding. You're confusing me. Anyways, I'm not making any assumptions or putting words in anybody's mouth or anything like that. I'm displaying their intent, motives, and plans with their with their words. I don't have to do anything. Organize, seize the moment, and take more ground. Expect more of this, folks. Authoritarians don't have boundaries. The moment you give a centimeter, they take it all. I want my fellow neighbor to learn all that they can, have the ability to say what they do and do not want to learn. Right. Folks, they're playing for keeps. Just saying. Authoritarians have no concept of boundaries. They keep going and going and going, which is what I posted here. Don't forget they've been attacking voting rights. Yeah, this is just another way of doing that. Think about it. Think about it. Once this decision comes down and says, you know what, it is up to the states to determine whether or not abortions are legal or not. All the 26 plus, just about half of the country is going to have laws that are severely restrictive, if not outright banning, because it's up to them, access to abortions. Any of which can be a felony if they want. And hey, guess who can't vote, folks? And guess who can't vote? Politics and religion have been mixed up for a very long time. The founders took a crack at trying to fix it, but yeah. I mean, like, the concept was there. But, you know. In a 2020 survey by the Pew Research Center, 65% of adults identifying themselves as Christian. They were 75% in 2015, 2014, 78%, 2012, 81. Oh, slowly, Christianity will increase during Trump of 2024. Maybe. They're using things as stepping stones. They want us to have less rights than our grandparents. I agree. It is cruel. It is cruel. Like I said, authoritarians don't have limits. They're not bound by a concept of boundaries. So what I said is, authoritarians never stop. This isn't a slippery slope. This is an effing bobsled competition. That's what this is. And just because you don't have a uterus, don't think that this isn't going to affect you either. Because it will. Like I said, it's not going to just stop at Roe. And even if, I'm just throwing that out there, child support is minimum about a quarter of your annual salary. Just saying. The end result of authoritarianism is the leader becoming a deity. Right. That's usually how it is. That's usually how it is. I mean, look how, Trump is absolutely an authoritarian, and how is he seen? So yeah, folks, if you think that this is gonna stop at Roe, you would be mistaken, in my opinion. When the country needs to work together, well, I mean, like, what really needs to happen is we need to have a good, well-grounded opposition, a good, organized, well-grounded, genuine opposition to keep stuff like this in check. Good point. I had a friend who had 2 kids with different women, and his paychecks came back at 0 amount. Yeah, like I said, I mean, listen, I'm just saying, child support starts minimum at quarter of your annual paycheck or annual salary. I'm just saying. If you think that this is not going to affect you, you would be sadly mistaken. If you think that this is just going to stop at Roe v. Wade, you would be sadly mistaken, in my opinion. And now that we've gone through this, I just wanted to bring that up because, I mean, like, it's a good illustration of, it's a good window to kind of take a peek at what folks like Charlie Kirk would love to have as an ideal world in their heads. So now, let's talk about this. When Supreme Court justices gather on May 12 for their next closed-door conference to discuss pending petitions, outstanding opinions, everything will have changed at their conference. Secrecy is so guarded that no one else is allowed in the room, which is kind of weird. Actually, that's kind of weird. Like, one of the most important things. Remember, folks, for me, to have a good, healthy, functioning democracy, you need 3 things, right? You need strong institutions, in other words, institutions that act as intended. 2, transparency. We need to know what's going on. This is not that. And 3, we need inclusivity, meaning people have to participate. These 3 things are the core tenets of a more or less healthy democracy. It's not perfect, but I think that it has to be based on those 3 things. At their conference, secrecy is so guarded that no one is allowed in the room. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, as the junior most justice, is charged with opening the door if someone knocks. But such precautions almost seem quaint now. The court prides itself on collegiality, independence, Lamau, a devotion to protocol, Lamau, and process is reeling from what Justice John Roberts called a betrayal of confidence, intended to undermine the integrity of our operations. Oh, my friend, listen. The perception that there's any integrity was long gone. The moment you have a Supreme Court justice, you have the wife of a Supreme Court justice be a heavily involved political activist, political agent, organizer, and then it just happens to be when her name is mentioned that you happen to be, in some cases, the lone dissent when it comes to documents that could be, to say the least, that could make you and your wife look bad and you're the sole dissent. I don't know. That kind of undermines the whole integrity, independence kind of deal. I don't know. While leaks are common in other branches of government, a leak of a draft Supreme Court opinion published by Politico in the most important abortion case in decades is seismic. But why though? It should be absolutely transparent, right? People need to know what the heck is going on. In the coming days, an investigation launched by Roberts will commence and presumably have a long-term impact that will trigger changes in protocol and add new levels of secrecy. But why? In short term, however, the implications of the leak could be more serious. That's because in the coming weeks, the justices will have to resolve the abortion dispute as well as a major Second Amendment case and other dealings with immigration, religious liberty, and the environment. The 9 justices are more than 3 dozen law clerks and administrative aides must constantly and collegially collaborate to draft opinions in order for the Supreme Court to function, said Mike Davis, a former clerk to Justice Neil Gorsuch. This requires strict confidence, utmost trust, both of which was in this unprecedented leak shattered. Personally, I don't care. Whoever did it was a hero. States receive free federal grant money for having a child support program to chase down, quote, deadbeat dads. It's why fathers rarely get equal share custody of their children. It has to be uneven to create a need for more parents to give child support. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Any article focusing on the leaker / the legality of the leak has failed in this moment in history. Right, exactly. That's exactly what I was pointing out. Like, I don't really care. I don't care. Those deliberations that involve a carefully choreographed between chambers could be damaged going forward. Such work requires frank conversations, shared trust that might be difficult to muster, knowing that what happens behind closed doors could be broadcast to the world. Good. Good. There should be transparency. If people know about discussions, it may get political like this is about to. It is political. What? Wait. This is all based on, like, laws and precedent. It is political. By definition. Who wrote these laws that are being challenged right now? I think everything is your fault. You won't go vote. Progressives vote less in general than MAGA. I mean, I agree that progressives vote less in, like, general elections, depending on what the candidates. But that doesn't necessarily kind of shoulder excuse what's happening. If you're trying to make the point that the right wing is more organized and gets out there, yeah, I agree with you. But unfortunately, Double L Houston, Texas, I guess, it's already political by definition. By definition, the challenges to these laws are is a political, act. Yeah. All you really need is a laser microphone with a Doppler codec pointed at the door of the chamber to hear what's going on. True. Yes, it is supposed to be about law interpretation. If we know the discussion that occurred, we will discuss and debate those topics. The statements will be used politically by definition if it is law interpretation, not political like Congress. Yeah, but like, it's already political is what I'm trying to say. There's no, like, way around that. It was already political from the beginning. That's how these cases came about. The Supreme Court is designed to be law interpretation. Yeah, but it's also part of the political aspect. It's part of a political process, procedure, whatever. It's the end stage, right? It's the end stage of a political process. Here are the major cases the court is considering that could have a major impact on American life. Roe v. Wade and abortion. While much has been said about Alito's draft opinion, a court spokesman made clear that it is not the final and did not reflect the final vote of any member of the court. That would suggest that there's still a possibility that one or two justices that presumably cast an initial vote to overturn Roe may be in play. One option that Roberts has backed would be to uphold the Mississippi 15-week abortion ban, but not explicitly overturn Roe's guarantee of a right to abortion. Sheesh. It's not unheard of for votes to change or for a dissenter to write so eloquently that he or she might draw an unexpected support from a colleague initially in the majority. So yes, but we're then expected. Oh my God, we're all throwing our hopes into maybe, kind of, hopefully, sort of, perhaps, two justices. And ADT and Alio and Twitch teaching civics. I'm grateful for the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, but the Supreme Court is designed to not be political. Maybe on paper, but that's just not how it ends up being. And by definition, like I said, it's part of the process. So therefore, it's just by default baked in. It's kind of hard to not think of it as some type of politically involved institution when, while I agree with you that, of course, it's supposed to be designed in such a way that it's supposed to be as neutral, impartial, but it really doesn't end up being that way because people are people. There are reasons to make it public, though. It would be a risky decision. I think it should be, the more transparency, I think, the better, in my opinion. Second Amendment rights. The court hasn't issued an opinion in a major Second Amendment case which in more than a decade, but it has an opportunity before it now. Justices are considering whether to strike down a New York gun law enacted more than a century ago that places restrictions on carrying a concealed gun outside the home. Okay, I mean, this is just As the justices debate this issue in secret, they will decide whether to issue a broad decision holding the right to keep and bear arms extends the right to carry a handgun outside the home, or whether to focus more narrowly on a handful of laws that give licensing officials a large degree of discretion in deciding who gets a permit. Behind the scenes, the justices are likely divided in a case concerning the exclusion of religious schools from a main tuition assistance program that allows parents to use vouchers to send their children to public or private schools. The conservatives on the court have in recent terms expanded religious liberty rights, while the liberals have moved at times to bolster the separation between church and state. That's the only correct take is to make sure that there is a robust separation of church and state. Another pending case concerns a former high school football coach who wants to pray at a 50-yard line after games. At oral arguments, conservatives seem sympathetic to religious rights in the coach, whereas liberals express concern about students feeling coerced into participate in prayer led by their coach. Right, that's nonsense. No. Dude, if you are so adamant about praying, do it in your own time, in your own home. So yes, take that shit out of there. Right, the SCOTUS is one of the three branches. No institution in this day can escape politics. I agree. Yeah, they literally have Catholic schools. Go do it there. The climate crisis, this one I'm interested in too. I think this one is the one that we've been following for a while. The justices are also considered a case brought by Republican attorney generals who argued that the EPA has no authority to regulate planet warming emissions from the power sector. Then what the F is the EPA then? Okay. Yes, this is the case that I was referring to. Absolutely. He just wants to pray on the 50-yard line after games. Just don't order your team to join you. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fine. Like if you do it as a solo kind of deal, that's just like something that you do, like a weird ritual that you have to do after every game or something. Yes, that's fine, I guess. Um, I don't know. To me, I just want to keep all that garbage out of schools. There are stranger rituals. That's true. I mean, like I said, if you're not being coercive, but like I don't know, because it could be a situation where like you kind of not outwardly coerced, but like implicitly you feel like you're gonna have to entertain like your coaches because he's your coach. You're gonna have to entertain that kind of deal, and you feel not compelled, but you feel almost like that you have to do it. So that could be seen as a pseudo coercive method. The justices are also considering a case brought by Republican attorney generals who argue that the EPA has no authority to regulate planet warming emissions from the power sector. Instead, they argue instead that the authority should come from Congress. It should come through Congress. The result will have enormous implication for Biden's climate agenda and future of environmental regulations overall. Right. But it's not just it's not just environmental regulations that are going to be affected, because by that logic, then um, no, by that logic, then no agency would have the authority to issue like regulate or to enforce regulatory things, right? Like the SEC, the Consumer Bureau Protection, maybe even the NLRB wouldn't be able to enforce any type of regulations, right? By that logic. So there are other serious implications that will come from this. Right, there's the whole team building coercive thing, but as long as the players are not punished for declining, there isn't a problem. Yeah, I suppose. They remain in Mexico and immigration policy. There are several disputes concerning immigration before the court. In one, the Biden administration seeks to end the Trump era remain in Mexico policy, which requires non-Mexican migrants to stay in Mexico until their U.S. immigration court dates. Lower courts have blocked Biden from ending the policy. The justices will be reviewing a sweeping lower court decision that could significantly alter immigration programs going forward. By the end of the term, Roberts will have navigated the court through one of the most divisive dockets in recent history at a time where the court's popularity is at an all-time low. Yeah, gee, I wonder why. And that was before the leak of the abortion draft opinion. In his statement announcing the investigation, Roberts called the leak a singular and egregious breach, as well as an affront to what? Transparency? Although he claimed the, quote, work of the court will not be affected in any way, it already has been. If people from other religions wanted to force it into schools, they would legit do another January 6th. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, like, can you imagine if, like, I would like to, introduce, like, the Muslim prayer tradition, which I think is like 5 times. Because, school prayer is very important. Do you think they would really allow that? They would go, uh, they would lose their minds. Plus, prayer in and of itself is not the problem, as long as As long as people can pray to whichever god they worship, right? I mean, like I said, just hey, listen, if you have a personal belief, and whatnot, that's cool. Just keep it out of like, just don't make it other people's businesses, right? Don't force people. Don't shove your beliefs down other people's throats. Is basically the crux of it, right? And that's it. That's the TLDR of my argument. All right. You could pray to this flying spaghetti monster for all I care. Just don't force it on other people. Yeah, please go easy on the solicitation. I can't tell you how many times I felt harassed by Christians trying to convert me. Yeah, it's just odd. It's just odd. Don't do it. Don't schools literally suspend girls for hijabs all the time? I don't know how like frequent that is, but that's messed up. That shouldn't be a thing. That's messed up. Like I said, whenever they talk about freedom of whatever, freedom of expression, and all of that other stuff, they usually don't actually mean that. My workplace set up two rooms for Muslims to pray when they need to because they we have a high number of Muslims in my workplace. I thought that was cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that that is cool. Um, because obviously in the workplace, uh, you want to be as accommodating as possible. That's cool. I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Many of us looked up.
Whoa. Oh man. Really? They're close to the break room for convenience. Yeah, that's cool. I was curious. I was curious to see when was the last time Pim Tool made a Civil War video. Damn. Should I have like a little counter till like days or weeks before the next Civil War video comes out for hundreds of thousands and thousands of people to view to an audience of 1.3 million subscribers? Because we did an article about the Oath Keepers and their clear intentions to violently usurp our republic or democratic institutions, I was curious as to how long has it been since Pim Tool made a Civil War video. It turns out that was just a day ago. Unbelievable. Jesus, for a split second there, I thought this was the quartering. Civil War reenactments are no longer good enough. We need annual Civil Wars. Jesus, no. Don't care for that drip. What drip? Jesus. I don't understand. I don't understand how people can listen to this person. Nothing worth looking at. Oh no, I'm not clicking on these videos. I was just curious, when was the last time he made a Civil War video? A day ago. Jesus. I wonder if Pim Tool would actually cover the story correctly about the Oath Keepers actually wanting to stage a essentially military assault. And how the Oath Keepers were preparing for the quote Civil War or whatever. I wonder if Pim Tool was ever going to cover that. I could bet literally everything that I have that he's not even going to make a video about it or talk about it. Yeah. The right has been so hungry for a civil war, just frothing at the mouth. Oh, yeah. I 100% agree with that. Is the font using for thumbnails supposed to cater to seniors? No, they're supposed to be eye-popping and catchy and make you want to click on them. That's the only thing. Nothing worth looking at. Oh yeah, no, we're not gonna go through a Pim tool video. I'm not subjecting you guys to that. Come on. I was just curious. Tim Pool won't debate Hassan. Not going to New Mexico unless they are face to face breathing on each other. Yeah, I mean, he did have other guests on, like Voosh, I think his name is Voosh. Vaush, I think. Uh, I mean, there's no like. Uh, all right, we got this article to go through. I think it's important to continue to highlight the effects of climate change, and this is just one another incident. 7 wildfires are burning in New Mexico as the governor asked Biden for help. Mind you, this entire area has been in a unprecedented drought. I think it's pronounced Vaush, but what do I know? Voosh. He's scared of what happened to Crowder. I mean, what is he? Is he like afraid that Sam Cedar's gonna appear behind Hassan? What? I mean, I don't know. Hassan's not exactly uh a good debater, to say the least. He's not exactly a good. There are better ways of advocating for your points. If he's scared of what happened to Crowder, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure I don't think Sam Cedar's gonna appear behind Hassan Piker. I think he'll be fine. New Mexico's governor has asked for a presidential disaster declaration to help get more money into her state as it battles the largest wildfire burning in the U.S. 7 wildfires are burning in New Mexico, the most in any state, according to the National Interagency Fire Center. Those fires have torched nearly 223,979 acres, including more than 160,000 acres charred by the largest inferno, the combined Hermit's Peak and Calf Canyon fires, which merged more than a week ago. Yeah. That's back to back to back. New Mexico is directing emergency dollars to fight the fires, but it's not enough. I have 6,000 people evacuated. I have families who don't know what the next day looks like. I have families who are trying to navigate their children, their own healthcare resources, figure out their livelihoods, and they're in every single little community. A presidential disaster declaration would unlock resources for watershed recovery, restoration of all those wildlands, and personal direct financial reparation and assistance before the fire is out. The president is very clear that that is coming, and we have every indication that we will be the first state to be able to advance this request and unlock those resources for New Mexicans, said Governor Michelle Grisham. CNN has reached out for the White House for comment. More than 15,000 homes could be threatened this week if the combined Hermit's Peak / Canyon, Calf Canyon fire continue to grow. Tens of thousands of homes, folks. The area includes the New Mexico City of Las Vegas, 85 miles north of Albuquerque, plus surrounding communities in San Miguel and Mora counties. Management team spokesperson Andy Leon said some 172 homes have been destroyed in Mora County and San Miguel County, and more than 6,000 homes have been evacuated. Yeah. He's having Madison Cawthorn. Jesus. Yikes. One house lost to New Mexico to one New Mexico family is too many. We are very grateful to the work of the firefighters and first responders. With more than 160,000 acres scorched, the combined Hermit's Peak and Calf Canyon Inferno is the second largest fire in New Mexico in at least 30 years. Yeah. The new norm, folks. About 300,000 acres have burned in New Mexico so far this year. This year meaning 5 months. That's that should be pretty alarming. 300,000 acres have burned in a single state. Not even a big state. New Mexico isn't like huge. In 5 months. That's a lot. That is a lot. I hope he's going to spill the tea on GOP cocaine orgy parties. I don't know if that even existed. I don't know. I think he just said something off the cuff that would trigger the, like, QAnon people part of his base, which I'm assuming it's a very large part of his base. He was probably just doing that for them, to be quite frank. I don't know if any of that has any legitimacy whatsoever. I think he's just literally making stuff up. Because when pressed for any evidence, like, he just didn't give any. And just taking the entertain the hypothetical, and let's say it's true that these things did happen, you best believe that if there was any Democratic lawmakers, he would be all over every single news, every single right-wing news outlet, and that would be wall-to-wall coverage on Fox, Newsmax, OAN. So it makes me think that even, let's entertain the hypothetical, that it is true. It's a self-report on the GOP party, because if it was the Democratic Party or the Democratic lawmakers, he would be on every single show, wall-to-wall coverage. I wouldn't doubt that it's true. It's the party of Trump, true. The smear campaign that came right after he said it makes me believe it. Suddenly everything he's ever done got leaked. They all freaked out. Maybe. Like I said, I have not, like, seen any physical, like, evidence being laid out. But assuming that we'll just entertain it for a bit, it's probably all GOP. You know, the party of family values. Because, like I said, if it was a Democratic lawmaker or Democratic lawmakers with an S, they would be all over the place. They would be on Fox, wall-to-wall coverage, on OAN, on Newsmax, on on all the right-wing news outlets. It would be everywhere. Like much of the Southwest. Oh, okay. So, another perspective. 300,000 acres have burned in New Mexico so far this year, which is 5 months. That's more than the past 2 full years combined, folks. CNN meteorologist Brandon Miller said, much of the Southwest, New Mexico has been under a prolonged severe drought, which has helped create critical fire conditions. April's fire weather conditions were the worst the state has seen in more than a decade, and that will be the new norm. Like much of the South, the situation is a long-term event, San Miguel and Mora County said in a joint release on Tuesday. We don't anticipate having control of this fire anytime soon. Yikes. The Democrats probably have worse parties, let's be honest. I don't know about that. I don't know. It just seems like, on the face of it, like, I understand that it's, like, odd that a lot of, smear campaigning or whatnot, I don't know if that's coincidence. I don't know if that's like being done on purpose, but until I get to see or until I see names, if this dude is like legit, he'll start dropping some names. We need names. We need details, okay? We need details. SW 2010, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I mean, at this point, if it is at this point, since they've been leaking all this information, why not leak names, right? Since they're doing it, supposedly. You got nothing to lose. They're starting to leak a whole bunch of stuff that that you've done. Uh what's stopping you? Name names. The glutton of power, greedy old people. I would say that gaslight, obstruct, and project. I don't believe they sacrifice kids and eat babies in a cult, but some wild parties and drugs. I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, and Choma resubscribing for 3 months. Heyo. Howdy. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. Folks, take 5 seconds, please. Go check out twitch.tv/Entroma. Go show them some love, yeah? Like, I don't know. I guess I'll just see. But, gotta run an errand, but I'll be lurking for a short bit. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. No problem. I mean, at this point, like, if they're leaking all my stuff, all my deets, all my details, what's stopping me from leaking what I know about them? Right? I think he just kind of threw that story out there to throw some red meat at his base that's listening on that one podcast that he said it. That's it. It's most likely what is it? Arkham's Razor? Arkham's Razor? I'm thinking Arkham like Batman. Whatever. The simplest explanation is probably closer. You know? I think it was Memo for the record who gave me that wonderful acronym. Gaslight, obstruct, project. Watch it happens all the time. Look at Epstein. It's the QAnon weirdos who make up insane stuff that overshadows these things. Oh, yeah. I'm not disagreeing with that. Sure. I'm just saying, like, for the Epstein stuff, we got names. Not all of them, but we got a handful of names. We got a handful of evidence. We've got witnesses. Like, all that came out. So it's not like we've got something to point to. Is what I'm saying. We had several, even past, like, before the whole thing blew up. In I think in Florida, like when this stuff was happening with Epstein in Florida, like that was reported on and known, right? Like there was names, there was victims, and we have that stuff on record. But like, I don't know, this dude just kind of just said that off the whim. Not that it can't happen. I'm just saying, like, I would like names, and I would like exactly details. Thanks for having us today. If only the world could get simpler, not more screwed up. Yeah, well, I think he was scared to say names, and now he's lost all their support, so he might. That's what I'm saying. Spill the beans. If that's the case, you got nothing to lose. You've got nothing to lose, and it'll galvanize the more extremist. If that, I know it's kind of weird, but the even more extremist wings of the of the Republican Party would be galvanized behind it, right? So there's no reason to keep it silent. Just spill the beans. All right, folks. It is getting close to that time. Of the 10 biggest wildfires in the US right now, 3 are in New Mexico, 5 in Texas, and 2 in New England? New England? Did I get that right? That entire area is just suffering a very, very, very severe drought. That is in part. Oh, Nebraska! Wow, boo. I knew that. Of course, I did. All right. All of these areas are being affected by a severe drought. They're being affected by a severe drought that is awful and probably going to be kind of like the new norm, right? This is going to be life for those folks. They're going to be under severe fire weather conditions constantly. The heat and temperatures are going to become unbearable. I mean, large parts of that is going to start becoming more and more uninhabitable. The same goes for coasts and low lying areas. The Gulf is incredibly vulnerable. Average size is 45,000 acres. Sheesh. Porty with the sortie. I don't know what that means, but that's an interesting username. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Welcome. Alright, folks. I do need to start heading, or getting myself set up, I should say, for work. Folks, if you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. Just like Porty with Sortie just did, you get 5 free emotes, including Bakita the cat. Come on, guys. How can you say no to a kitty cat emote? Also, take a moment, please, if you can, to head on over to the YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Join us Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time for news and politics. Join us on Saturdays around noon Eastern Time, more or less. For, yes, keep them coming. Look at that. Becca's not here. Thank you. Echo Resto Dragon, Maple Leaf Dragon. Keep spamming those Makita emotes. Look at that. Look at that. All free, too. Just had to hit that follow button. Join us on the Discords to keep up with the channel in case there's any updates. And head on over to the YouTubes. Abond, continuing that with the Bakita emotes. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I like that. I like that. And I'm sure Bakita appreciates that too. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. As always, folks. Oh, yes, and Saturday Saturdays, of course. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya! Oh. I'm still having trouble doing the peace sign. Keep them coming, folks. My arm is still... Whew. And also, just a quick thank you to Entroma. Thank you, Mayhem Hippie, for the support. You guys are what makes this channel grow. I appreciate that. All right, hang tight, folks. Thank you, Astro. Thank you, Alio, all the wonderful folks who hang out here. Thundera, Maple Leaf Dragon, Echo Wrestler Dragon, and Troma. Thundera, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the new follows as well. Raid channel. Tina, let's go to Tina. We haven't, we're at a perfect time. We're catching her right at the starting soon, alright? Let's go show some love. Alright, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.